What up, folks? It's your man MG on Double G, hitting you with a brand spanking new top 10 list. That's right, today we're gonna hop into some artists that I think are outstanding, but I just can't get into their music. So before we go into this list, I'm gonna need you guys to go ahead and give me a like on the video, share it if you know somebody who likes videos like this and content like this, and go ahead and leave me a comment as soon as you hear something that you agree with or disagree with. All right, man, so let's just hop into this list. Starting off at number 10, we got the God MC himself, Rakim. Now this dude is one of the most influential, and he's a pioneer of technical rapping styles. He's great with his ear when it comes to the beats. Shout out to Primo and also Eric B, of course. But for some reason, his vocal tone kind of leaves me wanting more. I want to hear more from him. When I'm listening to him, it kind of dries out and it feels, respectfully, I kind of tune out. And after the 8 bar or so, I'm kind of like, I can't imagine listening to this any further. At the same time, I love these songs, but I don't think it's because of Rakim himself. I Ain't No Joke is dope. Guess Who's Back and Eric B for President. I think those songs are classics, but I just really can't get into Rakim beyond that. I know he had a couple singles beyond that, and I know he signed to Aftermath before, but nothing really happened on that. Anyway, that's Rakim, and I can't really get into him like that, even though I respect him. Pause. For number 9, we're gonna go ahead and hop into the next one. This one's coming from ATL. This is the king of ATL. This is Mr. T.I., a pioneer of the beloved trap genre. He's multifaceted as an entertainer, except when it comes to being on that stage doing stand-up. Anyway, I always had an issue kind of accepting T.I.'s voice. I really didn't enjoy hearing his songs back earlier in his career. I was like, I didn't really understand the hype. I did enjoy some of the songs that were produced by certain producers such as Jazzy Faye and like the Neptunes. They did some tracks for him. But I like those songs mostly because of the beat and not because of his voice, because his voice kind of always struck me as he was huffing. It kind of felt like, I don't know, something about his voice did not do it for me. I did eventually like his vocal tone once he kind of switched it up towards like maybe his Paper Trail album, like on the Swagger Like Us track. That song is dope. Around that era, contrary to most of his songs, I love that one. Also ASAP and Pussy Pumper #1 and Rubber Band Man. That one's produced by David Banner, I believe. And they're undeniably enjoyable. It's just that I really can't get into his music like that. And the last album I spun was back in his 2016 drop. That was the Us or Else album. Anyway, that's T.I. He's number 9 on my list, and I really just can't get into his music. He's outstanding, but I'm not really into his music. Anyway, we're gonna hop on to the next one. This next MC, I hope y'all don't dig a hole for me. Alright. Number 8, man. This is number 8. We're hopping into it. It's Immortal Technique. He's an underground legend. He's an activist, and he's a Peruvian MC from New York. I never really could get drawn in by his music. I respect him, and you know, he was really big on the underground scene and the skateboard scene, and rollerbladers loved his music. He has this social political commentary in his rap, and it's right on the corner of the shit that's just not for me. It often comes off a little bit too preachy, and it kind of loses this musicality, which kind of leads to me not enjoying it as much. It's not as enjoyable, even though it has this message behind it. I can't really recall any of his songs that I've heard, but I do remember riding around with my homies and they would play his music, and I definitely heard his music in skateboard videos in the early 2000s. But that's Immortal Technique. I know he's heralded as one of the God MCs, but not to me. Go ahead and leave me your opinion of Immortal Technique down in the comments if you like him or not. But I'm gonna go ahead and move into the next one. And this one, you might go ahead and get the, you might want to shoot me for this one too. This one is coming from a West Coast dude. I think he's dope. It's number 7. It's Absol. He's one of today's most prolific lyricists. I'm gonna give him that. Soul's influence, I think that it can be recognized across the whole TDE spectrum. And although I enjoyed majority of his last album called Herbert, it came out in December. For me, his music kind of fails to consistently draw me in and make me want to hear it repeatedly. Previously, I tried to listen to These Days and Do What Thou Wilt, but I remember it kind of lost my attention several times as I was trying to listen to it. I kind of forgot I was listening to the album. And the rapping was outstanding, but the music overall felt like it was overshadowed by the preachy tone of the lyricism. I'll say that the last album was a step up, and Hollandaise sounds incredible. I love it when the beat switches, and it's a great song, and it's super fun for me to listen to. But I'm gonna hop into number 6, and we're gonna get right to it like this. Take it from the West Coast, and we're gonna go to Pennsylvania. Number 6, Don't kill me. This is Mac Miller, yo. Rest in peace, Malcolm. But here we have this rapper producer. He's a phenom, and he was highly praised and adored by his peers. As I previously mentioned before in one of my videos, I've seen him perform live, but I really didn't know who he was, and I wasn't able to actually appreciate who he was and his music at the time. And then I had friends who would recommend his music to me, and they told me how much they enjoyed it and that they thought I would too. And really, once I heard him, it was only on features, and it wasn't enough to keep drawing me back in and make me feel like, dang, I want to listen to some more Mac Miller. And it didn't make me become a fan, I would say. And as I'm thinking about it, I may have been lacking that affinity towards his music because it felt like it was a little bit too laid back with his voice sometimes. I don't know, maybe it was lacking energy for me sometimes, and it kind of made me blur him into the ranks of artists that I think are outstanding, but I really just can't get into. I'll say this though, upon some research and reviewing some of his music, Mac was an exceptional artist, and I do believe that I can become a fan of his if I do listen to more of his discography, especially if I listen to him with my 2023 ears instead of my 2013 ears. So that's Mac Miller, and he's at number 6 from my list. We're gonna hop into the next joint and the next artist that I think is incredible, but I really just can't get into that music. Outstanding, outstanding, outstanding. So this is another artist that I've seen live and that I think is incredible. And I've actually mentioned before in another one of my videos, this is Russ, man. And I'm hoping this doesn't come off as too much of a contradiction to what I've said before, because I do recognize him as an exceptional artist and performer. But Russ, he really does it all. He's writing, he's engineering, he's performing, and he's doing it at a high level. But for some reason, it fails to connect with me on a level that makes me a super fan. His rapping it's above average, it's down above average, and his production is stellar, and he is one of the best rappers on stage in his live performances. But often when I listen to him, it kind of feels like I'm listening to Diet Drake or something. Outside of the pull the trigger, I hardly ever find myself feeling like, damn, I want to listen to some Russ right now. But like I said, the dude is an incredible artist, and I think it just takes a little bit more of me listening to some more of his tracks to get into it. I've heard a couple albums, but I don't really go back to them like that. That's Russ, he's number 5 on my list. Let me know what you guys think about Russ in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video before we go into the next one. Moving, keep that top 10 moving. All right, we're hopping into number 4. This is another legendary MC, Mr. Big Pun. Rest in peace to Mr. Christopher Rios. Yo, this man stole the spotlight and the show on any feature or remix that I felt like he was on. And he's one of the pioneers of Latino lyricists. Pun, he had some incredible wordplay. His rhyme structures were beyond this world, and he knew how to sprinkle that commercial likability into his music. But for some reason, I've only listened to one album way back in middle school. Granted, Pun passed away when I was in the 6th grade, and I didn't have a certain type of ears to listen to what actually he was talking about, but I may need to revisit his discography. Maybe that'll make me fully appreciate his contribution to this culture. While I can't say that I've never heard a verse from him that I thought was whack or that I didn't love, I also can't say that I love his albums. And for that reason, he's an outstanding artist that I'm just not that into, but maybe that could change. I would say right now, when you finish this video, go listen to Pun's verse on the Beatnuts Off the Books joint. That one, I dare you to say that's not incredible. That song is incredible. He starts it off. Anyway, we're gonna hop into number 3 as we get along with this list. Okay, so we're getting along with the list, man. We're getting along. We are moving right along with the list. And man, I really don't crucify me for this, okay? Number 3 on my list, Jeffrey, Mr. Young Thug. I hate that name. Anyway, according to my nephew, according to the interwebs, according to Lupe Fiasco, Joe Budden, even Mr. Yeezy himself, Mr. YSL is the second coming of Jesus on the microphone. I just failed to feel that way. I've enjoyed some of his songs, I say that, but I think it's mostly because of the production, and he's playing a background role to the song. Like on Kanye's Highlight song, or the one song that he has with J. Cole called The London. I love that song, but I downloaded the instrumental and not the actual song because for some reason Young Thug's voice, it just annoys me. I don't know what it is. I'm mostly annoyed by the voice, and I find it hard to listen to him sometimes. And to be fair, I've tried to finish several of his albums. I listened to Jeffrey, I've listened to Beautiful Thugger Girls, and I even tested out The Waters on So Much Fun, but I wound up like, yo, okay, I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this. And that's a skip. And that's a skip. And I got to fucking skip to my leave my darling on this nigga. Because I really can't get into his music. It's all skip factor for me. Man. I try to give him, you know, a bit of leeway. And I try to see what you guys see in him. But it just must not be for moi. Because I don't know what the fuck y'all love about his music. The vocal acrobats that you guys say that he has, it just makes me want to flip his songs into the garbage pail. Anyway, that's number 3. That's Young Thug. I know you guys love him. And I know y'all probably gonna crucify me too. But anyway, I'm gonna move into number 2 because I really don't give a fuck. We're topping off this list. Top off. Anyway, this is number 2. And man, I know y'all might want to get the guillotine on me this one. You guys are gonna want to get the guillotine on me. Alright, number two on my top 10 artists that I think are outstanding that I can't get into. Number 2 is Black Thought. Yes, the legendary MC, the band leader of The Roots, the actor, the freestyle god, the outstanding lyricist, Mr. Tariq Trotter, possibly the king of Philly MCs. I know y'all gonna pull a guillotine on me, but I struggle getting through his Streams of Thought series, his album mixtape, whatever you want to call it, and I feel like he's technically rapping at an incredible level, and sometimes I get lost in the lyrical, miracle, spiritual rituals, but it's the monotonous tone, I think, for me, that makes his delivery feel like a drag on. And sometimes it doesn't have the switch up in the energy or the inflections that makes me feel like, I want to come back to this. It's rich in lyricism, but it kind of becomes stale at some point when I'm just listening to him giving me these punchlines and the same voice over and over. It kind of feels like a run-on sentence, and sometimes it feels like he might be repeating himself. And then the beats sometimes put me in a trance. But with that said, I do respect him. Radio Days is one of my favorite songs of all time, along with You Got Me in This Fire. That's Tariq Trotter, aka Mr. Black Thought. He's number 2 on my list. I know y'all gonna be mad at me about that one. But we're gonna slide right into the last one. Slide. Not the cha-cha slide, but the slide. And the number 1, Mr. Fake Patois. Yeah, number 1 on my list. Number 1 on my list. Number 1 on my list on artists that I think are amazing, but I just can't get into is Drake. Okay, Mr. Aubrey Graham. He finally made it to number 1 on one of my lists, right? Okay, before y'all go ahead and send the 6 God choppers at me. Yo, I acknowledge and I accept that Drake is an exceptional artist. I even find inspiration in some of his endeavors and some of his accomplishments. I even think that he has some dope songs. But, pero mis perros. I find it extremely difficult to get into his discography. Of about 5 to 6 albums of his that I've spun and actually tried to listen to, I always find myself skipping most of the songs. I'm like, damn, I'm not really feeling this. His singing on the soft, airy instrumentals is really not my cup of Canadian tea. And while I respect his songwriting, incredible, right? His ability to replicate his features. Whenever he's on a track with somebody, he can do what they do and probably do it better. And he kills it on his features. That's really what I can tell you. He's above average with his wordplay, I'll say that. But most of his songs, they just strike me as a little bit too corny or a little bit too soft for my taste. And that's just me. But on the up, I'd say I have about 7 to 8 songs from Drake that I absolutely love. My problem is I'm not really a big fan of his slow R&B style, with an exception of some of his tracks like Back to Back, Light Up, and the majority of the Her Loss album that he recently put out with 21 Average. Drake's pop raps, they kind of bore me, and I feel like his so-called deep lyricism, when he actually gives us bars, sometimes it comes off kind of stale for me. So it's like I'm stuck on this spot where I'm like, I want to like this dude, but something just doesn't pull me in and makes me feel like, wow. I'm still waiting for that moment when I listen to a Drake verse and I get goosebumps, and I'm like, wow, that one touched me. But I haven't had that moment yet. I do have moments where I'm like, yo, that was tight what he just said. I can respect that. But with all that said, I still feel like it's not impossible, and I don't doubt that he can one day become somebody that I actually feel like that about. Anyway, for that reason, I think Drake is the #1 most outstanding artist that I just can't get into. Put me through this video. This one was kind of a long one, but we're gonna make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like, because I know you enjoyed it. Yo, let me know what you agree with or disagree with in my video. Hit me in the comments, and stay tuned for some more top 10 videos, and stay tuned for some more music. Me and the homie Sister got something coming out real soon. Keeping it locked in. It's your man Angie on Double G. Us the folks. This has been another top 10 list. I appreciate you guys sticking with me through this, and I'll catch you in the next one. And peace.